Another hot week. Actually, we had some cooler temps, but it's going to get warm again here. I wanted to hit you up with another weekly fishing report for the metro area, Minnesota. So, again, we've had some simple approaches to your summer patterns. I want to show you a few new ideas that maybe you haven't thought about that have been working for me the last week or so. And we've been targeting bass, we've been targeting walleyes, panfish, pike. We've got a variety of different species. I'm seeing a lot of anglers really fish the river. They're getting out and fishing from shore, enjoying the nice weather. We had our kids out in the slip and slide today. I'm sure a lot of you out there enjoying summertime activities with the family. Wanted to touch on a few ways to catch some of these summertime fish as they move into their deep patterns, inside weeds. You're starting to hear in terms like milfoil, get inside the weeds, flip the foil if you're a bass fisherman. I'm going to show you exactly what that means. So in terms of flipping the milfoil, that's been a hot tactic lately. Those big bass are starting to move inside the heavy cover. You can catch them on the outside weed lines. We've talked about using, the jig worms, the classic worms, the phenom worms, your ribbon tail type worms, your Ned rigs on the outside weed line. We've caught a lot of fish doing that. That's going to be consistent for quite a while still. I don't want to beat a dead horse and keep talking about jig worms, so I'm going to change it up, and we're going to talk about pitching and flipping jigs. This just happens to be a half-ounce all-terrain jig. Nothing super fancy about it. It's a swim jig. You also have the grass jig. You have a rock jig. You have various types of jigs. I will use a heavier swim jig or a grass jig for flipping, let's say, the heavier cover. And when I say flip milfoil, the idea is when you get onto a lake, let's say like Minnetonka, Waconia, Forest Lake, I can go through a slew of them here in the metro, even up towards Chisago and out west near Annandale. We have a lot of milfoil present. You know what? Bass love milfoil. Big bass love milfoil. And sometimes you have to get underneath that expansive canopy of milfoil to get those fish to bite. So you use a tactic called flipping or punching. And you hear people say flipping the foil. That's what I'm going to talk about. So this happens to be a half-ounce to 1 ounce jig. It's got some rattles in it. You may not be able to hear them on the camera, but it does. It's got a heavy brush guard on there to kind of punch through. And the idea is deploying enough weight to punch through that mat to fish underneath. Because if you've seen milfoil from down below, it's like a tree. You have the canopy, you have all the milfoil leaves and straggly stuff, the stuff you see as an angler and going up, I don't want to go in there with my trolling motor. But underneath that, it's clean. You can fish it. And that's where you want to punch through and get those fish. Those fish are underneath there because of shade, because of cover, because of safety, because of comfort, and because of food. A lot of times you can find those hard bottom spots underneath the milfoil, and that's where the biggest bass are going to be. So you want to punch that milfoil, exactly, punch right through that with the weight. And I tip that with, this happens to be a Mr. Twister Buzz Bug. It's a good tipping agent. Also tip them with a pocket craw. That gives you a little more of a meaty profile, bigger paddle tails, a little different approach. If I'm not going to use a jig, I may turn to, let's say, a jig head of some type, or even a heavy worm and it's some kind of tungsten weight or a bullet weight, and I'll tip this on there the same way. Same goes with a flipping bait. This happens to be the flipping out from Mr. Twister. There's a lot of different options out there. It's just a thicker profile bait. I'll show you exactly what one looks like. It's a thicker profile bait. A lot of meat to that thing. I'll put a 4/0 hook on there with a tungsten weight on the end so I can punch through there and work it in that facet so that you can fish this weedless just like you can, let's say, a heavier jig. So it gives you a couple different options there to fish those fish. So try some of those flipping techniques. Another great all-purpose bait this time of year that I use for guide trips. You have a spinner bait, you have some crankbaits, those sorts of things. But when you get into the weeds, I'll throw that timber doodle from Maps. This is a lot of fun. This is a real easy bait to fish. I don't care if you're a novice, if you're a rookie, if you're an expert. It's a very easy spoon bait to fish. You can fish it much like a topwater frog too. It will sink. It's intended to be weedless. It comes nice and neat in a package with that. Got 4 tails on there. That thing's pretty sexy. That fish is very nice and neat through the weeds. All you're doing to rig this, it's got a nice little worm stem on there to poke that through. You can see that's going to dangle on there nice. And then you just rig it through weedless, just like you would your Texas rig baits, and there you go. Now you got a weedless presentation for bass, for pike, you name it. You can cast this through lily pads, pencil reeds. It's an easy bait to fish in a variety of different situations. Give that one a shot. And last but not least, your panfish options out there. I've been turning towards tubes the last few days when I've been fishing big bluegills, is tubes. I've been drop shotting little 2-inch tubes on the weed lines. It's been working really well. There's not much to it. This thing weighs nothing. But drop shotting those in the weed lines to get those big bluegills to go. Crappies will gorge themselves on these too. In terms of line for the flipping, I've been using that Vicious Fluorocarbon Pro Elite. This is 17-pound test. You could do 14, 17. You can go heavier if you'd like. 17 seems to be the key. You can see here on this flipping rod, and this happens to be just a 7'6" heavy action flipping rod. This is that new Jason Mitchell Elite Series. It's got a beefy stout tip. I can flip that heavy milfoil and hoist those fish out. I'm fishing the new Kronag CI4 bait casting reel with that 17-pound fluorocarbon. This is going to get it done. This is going to get the fish out of the cover that you need it to be, and it's going to be very effective on those big bass and that heavy cover. So might have thrown a lot at you this week. The key is to maybe change tactics. Maybe don't shy away from the jig worm. Still have a jig worm rod out there if you're doing the bass thing, but maybe switch towards some of the flipping applications. Try some of the weedless baits for pike, for bass, like a timber doodle, something of that nature. Moss Boss, maybe a topwater frog can be a lot of fun when the sun's going down and the sun's coming up. Buzz baits. Showed you a handful of flipping baits. Don't negate the panfish. The panfish right now can still be very active. We caught some really big ones on the deep weed lines. Get out there and chase them. As anglers, we oftentimes stop fishing as effectively when we can't see what we're casting at. So early in the spring, everyone's a hero. You go out there and cast shallow water cover, you catch a lot of fish. The fish move deeper. You gotta try a little harder. Keep moving. If you're not getting bit, the fish are not there. So hopefully you have some fun this next week. We got another hot week ahead of us. I think I did see a couple days predicted in the 90s. So get out there, have some fun, catch some fish, and we'll catch you next week.